Two. Now, on the last lecture, we were discussing about what is substitute goods and what is complementary goods. Let us look towards it. 1 minute. Let me take the page where it is there. Okay, here it is. So check here. Related good can be two types. Okay, related goods can be two types. As I said earlier, one is substitute goods and the other one is complementary goods. What do you think are supplementary goods? Substitute good. Substitute good is nothing but when you substitute that good with another good, it will also give the same level of satisfaction. Okay, what is complementary good? The satisfaction will be of different types. Without consuming both the goods, you cannot get the satisfaction. Okay, if you take ink pen, without ink you cannot use it. Okay, so this makes it complementary to each other. When substitute good, we can take an example of tea and coffee. Both are of same nature. Okay, instead of tea you can consume coffee too. And another examples like Maza and Slice, Pepsi and Coke. Okay, both will give the same level of satisfaction and same level of benefit, but they are substitute because due to taste and preferences of consumers, they are separated. Okay, but ink pen and ink and car and petrol, phone and charger are called as complementary goods. Without them, another good cannot exist. Okay, when that comes, it will lead to complementary goods. Okay, and same way, Maza and Slice. I hope you are clear with this. So, this is what substitute good and complementary good. But you may think that how supplementary good and complementary good will affect the demand. So, let me take the example of substitute good. When we take substitute good, say tea and coffee. When you look at both of these, they are same. But when price level of when price level of tea increases, consumer will consume less of it. Okay, eventually demand will be less. Okay, when you should compare this with the situation of tea. When price level of tea increases, keeping coffee prices same, what will happen to it? Consumer will consume it more and eventually demand will also increase. So when prices of tea increases, demand for the substitute, another other substitute good will increase. Okay, so what is substitute good means? When prices of tea increases, demand for coffee increases. Okay, normally think okay, how can we say this as is okay, you are going to a shop and you find that there's a high increase in the prices of tea. Okay, when you see that you check the package and you saw that tea price is rupees 300. Okay, and you are going to a coffee pack and saw the price and it showed that it's just 150. As a middle class consumer, instead of preferring taste or something, normally the poor like lower middle class people would select coffee because it's cheaper than tea. Okay, it's just a theory. Okay, always coffee price will always be higher than the tea price. So most preferably lower class people will consume tea more than coffee. Okay, so but as a theory to explain you as an example, I am taking this scenario. Okay, normally நீங்களே இப்ப கடைக்கு போறீங்க அப்படின்னா டீ ஓட விலை 300 rupees இருக்கு, காஃபியோட விலை 150 இருக்குன்னா சரி 300 or 150 when you are money conscious you will definitely choose coffee. Okay, when tea price increases, coffee demand for coffee increases. This is what substitute goods. But in case of complementary goods, you have ink pen and ink. Okay, when you have ink pen and ink, what will happen? You have bought ink pen, say rupees 10 rupees. Okay, and then the ink bottle for say rupees 30. I'm not sure about the prices, but it's just a example. Okay, so ink pen is rupees 10 and ink bottle costs you rupees 30. And suddenly you want to buy another pen and it says that price is rupees 20. Due to increase in price of ink pen, there will also be an increase in price of ink bottle too. Okay, this is what complementary goods. Increase in price of one good will decrease the demand for other good, because when ink pen prices increases, complementary goods will go hand in hand. Okay, if price of ink pen increases, price of ink bottle will also increase. Okay, to get a clear example, if you are going to buy a car, at that time say your petrol prices is on hike at a maximum of rupees 110 rupees per liter, due to which car prices will also hike, will get hike. Okay, this is what complementary goods. When prices of one complementary good increases, the other will automatically be affected. When price increases, the demand for it will decrease. Okay, but substitute goods are opposite to each other because both gives the same nature, same level of satisfaction. So they can be used as one in place of other, but complementary good cannot like operate without each other. Okay, this is what you have to understand here. I hope you are clear with this. Next, income of the buyer of commodity. How will income affect the demand? How consumer buys goods? Consumer buys good with money. How the money arises to him? By way of income. Okay, income gives the consumer money to buy so that he starts to consume. Okay, which eventually increase in consumption increases the demand. Okay, so say a person has rupees 10,000 as his income and B has rupees 20,000 as its income. Okay, when you look towards it, whose consuming power will be more? B's consuming power will be more because A has a budget limit of rupees 10,000. He can't buy more than 10,000. So, according to this 10,000, he can consume only bundles that fall on within 10,000. But B can consume bundles of A and plus an additional bundle up to the extent of 20,000. Okay, as income of the consumers increases, the demand for a commodity will also increase. Okay, if the consumers' income decreases due to corona period, many of them are losing their jobs, and so that there will be a lower demand in the market for the commodity because people have poor purchasing power due to decrease in the prices decrease in the income levels. So which eventually have an impact on the demand. Okay, as for now we have seen demand of like what will be affecting the demand. Okay, what will affect the demand? Price of the same commodity, price of related good means substitute good. We should look for both substitute goods and complementary goods. Okay, in case your question paper asks this question, have to mention both supplementary goods and complementary goods in the same head. Okay, so and the next one we have shown is income of the buyer. Okay, and what's next is taste and preferences of the buyer. Even though there's a this is what I said, I have already mentioned you that in case of tea and coffee, when prices of tea increases, demand for coffee increases. Okay, but when taste and preferences plays a major role, what will happen? Okay, price of the tea increased, but I love only the taste of tea and I have a more aversion towards coffee. What will I do? Even though there's a hike in the price level, I will definitely consume the tea. Okay, so this is what taste and preferences have a major role. But in case you are a lower middle class, he will definitely choose over what is cheaper to him. But there are people still who have a preference towards quality. Okay, though they may be poor, but they used to have a specific good they prefer quality over quantity. In that cases, even though price hikes, the demand will always be increased. Okay, I hope you are clear with it. Next one, as of now, we have shown what will affect the individual demand. Okay, as a person. Now, what will happen? What will affect the group of people demand? What is called as group of people demand? Market demand. What will happen to the market demand? Okay, what are its points? There are only three factors affecting the market demand. First one is number of buyers in the market. Okay, when there is more number of buyers, there will be more purchasing power. People buys more and the demand for it increases. And the case is vice versa. When the market population is low, it will lead to decrease in the purchasing power. People will be less to consume the goods and eventually the demand for the commodity will also fall. Okay, but in case of distribution of income and wealth, it will be different people. As I already told you, market demand is the group of individual demand. All individuals will not have the same level of income. I already told an example that A has an income of rupees 10,000 and B has an income of rupees 20,000. So when it's a group of two individuals, each and every one have a different kind of perception. A will consume more, B will consume more and B will always give a high level of demand and A will have a lower level of demand due to income. Okay, you should on the whole, when you have given a task to check about say the survey about market demand, you think about three factors. What about the population? There is a distribution of income category where incomes are distributed unequally because there are people who earn in crores and there are people who earn in tens. Okay, so on the cases we have to do a very rate market riches, and we should perform a market demand analysis over that. Okay, this is a very difficult task. And the next one is seasonal weather conditions. This also plays a very important role. As individual consumer is concerned, even though there's winter, even though there's a cold climate outside, he may consider to have an ice cream because he wishes to have and he has the capacity to have. But in case of market demand, we should analyze on the whole. Okay, on that case, we have to look for the majority of people. So normally it is considered as in the winter season, people will consume less of cold products. Okay, but on the opposite side, there will be an increase in demand for the cool drinks when in the season of summer. Okay, this is what they are saying that, and that's what they are saying. And before going on to the next concept, I want to let you know about what is normal cool and what is inferior cool. What is normal cool? Whose demand increases with the increasing income of the buyer. This is what normal cool. When there's both increase in income lead to increase in the demand. That is when 10,000 is increased to 20,000. Okay, when 10,000 is increased to 20,000, the normal people will also increase it. Okay, but what is inferior goods is the opposite case of normal good. What will happen is when the demand decreases due to increase in the price, that is due to increase in the income, people may use poor good while they have a lower income, but when their income increases they may use to high quality goods, that is called inferior. But normal goods means they don't have an impact even though there is an increase in price or decrease in the price, there will be a same movement along the normal goods. Okay, so this is what it is. And let me move on to the next concept. Law, sorry, law of demand only. So next concept is law of demand. What is law of demand? States that other things remaining same, quantity of demand of a commodity is inversely related to its price. Quantity of good is inversely related to its price. This is what they are saying. What does this mean? They are inversely related means due to increase in price, there will be decrease in quantity demanded. And when there is a decrease in price, there will be an increase in quantity demanded. This is what the law states, and you can look for the graph here. Okay, why is this demand curve is in a downward trend? Why is this? Because due to increase in prices, there is a decrease in demand. When the price is 1 rupee, he buys 10 quantity. When the price increased to 2, he purchased less by 2 quantity. Okay, this is what happened. Okay, that is why the demand curve is downward. What are the assumptions of law of demand? Is that this is what those assumption. What are the factors affecting the individual demand will be the assumptions for law of demand, that we should say that there is no price changes in the substitute good, there is no price change in the complementary good, income of the buyer remains the same, and there is no change in the tastes and preferences of the consumer, provided there can be changes in the price level and the quantity demanded. Okay, so here they have clearly mentioned that law of demand is the other things remaining same. So except quantity demand and the price, other things will remain same. Reasons for operation of law of demand. Why is this happening? First they are saying that due to the law of diminishing marginal utility. Why do you think so law of marginal utility, diminishing marginal utility affects? Already we have seen that due to increase in the consumption, marginal utility will decrease. So when marginal utility decreases, people may tend to fall on the trap because they don't want to consume the good. So seeing this, let me move on to the graph and check what happens. Law of diminishing marginal utility say that due to increase in due to increase in the consumption of goods, the demand for it, the consumption satisfaction, the consumption ability will decrease. So when you look at it, when you consume two goods, there's a high of, like say, marginal utility is high. Okay, over increasing the prices or over certain goods, satisfaction fall. Okay, already we have discussed as marginal utility will always be equal to the price or higher the price. Okay, in that case you can clearly see here that as due to increase in quantity consumption there is a decrease in the satisfaction level. Okay, so what will be the next is income effect and substitution effect, and I have already explained these, so you can check over it. Change in number of buyers also I have mentioned. Diverse uses of commodity. You can read this and you can check it. But let me also explain it too. So diverse uses of commodities. When a single commodity have multiple uses, then there will be ultimately an increase in demand. Okay. So what are the exceptions to the law of demand? Given goods. First, they are saying that first exception is given goods. What are those given goods? Given goods are special type of inferior goods in which negative income effect is stronger than negative substitution effect. Okay, let me say an example to you in the pictorial form. Example of given goods. Okay, here there is an example of given good, that is a family buys 6 loaves of bread and 1 joint of meat per week. Okay, when it's 10 rupees. Okay, when it's 15 rupees, family buys 6 loaves of bread and no meat each week. When you look towards it, what is different good is due to increase in the price level. Say இதுல என்ன சொல்லலாம் அப்படின்னா, ஒரு நான்வெஜ் ஒரு மீட் வாங்குறாங்க, அப்புறம் பிரெட் வாங்குறாங்க. ஓகே, 5 loaves of breadம் ஒரு மீட்டும் வாங்குறாங்க 100 pence இருக்கும்போது. அதுவே என்ன பண்றாங்கன்னா, பிரெட்டோட price 15 இருக்கும்போது அவங்க என்ன பண்றாங்க அப்படின்னா 6 loaves of bread இது வாங்கல அவங்க. இத வாங்காம இது மட்டும் 6ஆ வாங்குறாங்க. ஓகே, அப்ப இதுல இருந்து என்ன புரியுது அப்படின்னா, அத்தியாவசியம் எதுவோ அதுக்கு அவங்க இன்கம் prices increase ஆனாலும் அதோட டிமாண்ட increase பண்ணுவாங்க. Okay, due to increase in price level of bread loaves, there is an increase in the bread level. Okay, this was the perfect example of given goods. Okay, இத sacrifice பண்ண அவங்க ரெடியா இருக்காங்க. ஆனா இத sacrifice பண்ண அவங்க ரெடியா இல்ல, because this one is their basic consumption commodity. Okay, this is what the perfect example of given good. And the next one is status symbol goods represents luxury goods. Even though luxurious goods are normally high of cost. Even though there is a high of cost, there will be always a higher the demand due to higher the prices. Okay, and necessities. This is what I told about. In that example, they showed bread. Okay, that is the basic necessity for a day-to-day work. Okay, he can sacrifice his consumption of non-veg, but he can't satisfy basic necessity. So all these are basic necessity commodities. Even though there is a hike in the prices, they will consume it. Okay, so that's an exemption to the law of demand. Next one is goods expected to be scarce. Okay, this is the perfect example I could say you. Sanitizers now. What happened to the sanitizers till corona period occurs? So before corona, there was plenty of sanitizers in the supermarkets, shops and all. But after corona, there is no sanitizers available. They have to wait. We have to order the sanitizers and we have to wait for a week or 2 days and all. Okay, what is the situation? Because people think that due to corona, there will be a scarce in resources like medicine, sanitizers will be a scarce because people tend to buy more. So in that cases, even though there is a hike in price, people will start buying it. Okay, this was the perfect example towards it. So we have completed the law of demand. I hope you are clear with it. In case of any doubt, please don't hesitate to ask me. And I have already mentioned about the individual demand schedule, so you can always look towards it. Okay, this is for an individual buyer and this is for the whole market. Market demand schedule is for the whole market and you can always see those differences. So next concept is movement along the demand curve, that is change in quantity demanded. What happens to the movement along the demand curve? There is always two movement of that could happen. Either this one is the demand curve, say this is the demand curve, and this is also a demand curve. Say all these are demand curve, okay? So in case they may extend, this one can extend along the demand curve, and they may even contract along the demand curve, and they may even shift, okay? This is what there are. Actually, this is considered as two types, okay? One this one, and other one is this one. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the four different categories where the demand curve could change. Okay, so now we are going to analyze what is the reason for them to change. Okay, so now what happens movement along the same demand curve? Movement along the same demand curve means same demand curve is either extended or contracted. Okay, why is this happening is due to the quantity demand. So in this case, quantity demanded will play the major fact. How it will play the major fact is when there is a decrease in the quantity demanded, there will be a contraction of demand, and whereas when there is an that is when there is an increase in the demand, there will be an expansion of demand. Okay, but this one is the one case you can read all this. When there will be a shift in demand curve is how will that shift will be is this is the demand curve. It may either move in the upward or it can move in the downwards. Its normal decrease as towards left and towards right and towards left. Okay. So let's take here why is that happening. This is what when there is an increase in price level, there will be a decrease in demand. Okay, when there is a decrease in price level, there will be an increase in demand. So when shift happens, we should think about price changes, and when movement happens, we should think about quantity demand. And the vice versa will also apply. When the question states that quantity demand changes, suddenly you should think about movement along the demand curve graph. When there is a different or changes in the prices, we should think about the shift along the demand curve or shift in demand curve graph. Okay, so kindly read this and you will get to understand this very easily. These are very interesting and very worth reading. So this is what the lesson is all about. So this lesson is done. We will move on to the next chapter, price elasticity of demand, in the next lecture.